Hello cookies, it's Siri, I am back, and today we're going to talk about frugal eating. Everyone says eating organic is expensive, but I spend around 25 euros per week both in Sweden and in Germany eating a lot of protein, a lot of plant-based food, and without being super miserable. The way what I use to make my food more interesting is toppings. The first topping we're going to talk about is seaweed. Organic seaweed is expensive, that is true. However, I use it very sparingly, just like with salt, so I sprinkle it. And this whole package, which is 25 grams, has lasted about 4 months so far. It's almost empty. I have one usage left of it. It has lasted quite a long time, and I'm very pleased with the price per usage or price per meal. My gynecologist told me that most women in Germany lack iodine, and she specifically told me to consume more seaweed, which is great because I love seaweed. The amount that I take is not enough to really give all the iodine I need, so I still take some supplements, but it has some. It's also very rich in umami flavor, and it gives so much flavor, and there are so many different types of seaweed out there. Some are fishier, some are stronger, some are saltier, some are crispier, some are thicker, some are thinner. You can play a lot with them. Because the flavor is quite rich and some of the seaweed can get quite salty, you need a tiny amount, so you save a lot. I sometimes mix it with rice while I cook the rice so that it has some color and a little bit of flavor. I put it in stews, I put it in marinades, I put it fresh on top of fresh salad or fresh poke bowls that I make myself. The second topping is furikake, and it's still about the same as seaweed because this is a Japanese blend. Furikake is Japanese for sprinkle, delicious crunch on rice or salads, black and white sesame seeds, partially toasted, seaweed and sea salt. This is freaking amazing, and this always elevates the look of my plain dishes. It's a bit expensive at first, especially this little jar that is 100 grams, but it is April now, and this was bought in August, if I remember properly, and also bought one right before moving back to Sweden. The other one has about half left, and this one is almost finished. I have about one usage left on this, and then it's over. I love furikake because it adds a flavor, it adds crunch, and it just makes the food look so nice. The first time I used it on my rice, it made my rice go from plain to this could look restaurant-ish, or at least a poke bowl place-ish. It just looks so much more interesting and finished and fancy. And I have had colleagues in Sweden tell me, oh, your food looks so fancy, and it's only because of the furikake and nothing else. Because the rest of the dish was rice, beans and carrots. It doesn't get cheaper than that, really. But then you add some furikake and ta-da! It looks extra fancy and exotic, but it's just super simple.
Vill du filma också? Jo, vi kan filma tillsammans. Vi kan filma tillsammans.
The third type of topping is actually toppings, and it is sour toppings. The first one is sauerkraut, of course, because I live in Germany, and this one only has cabbage and salt. Be careful because some of them add a lot of different things, so they add oils and they can also add a lot of sugar. I despise sweet sauerkraut. I really don't like when dishes that I expect to be sour or savory turn out to be sweet, and it's really not good for you. It defeats the whole purpose, and some of them really have a high amount of sugar. Sauerkraut is super good for your gut health. Everyone is talking about how you should eat that at least once a day to have the good bacteria in there. It's good with fibers, it's quite filling, and I really like the sour touch in food. It just makes my food so much more yummy. Like sometimes I'm not motivated to eat my food because of different reasons, mostly stress. I don't really eat when I'm stressed or when I'm sad, but then I add a bit of sourness to it, and sauerkraut is one of those things, and I just gulp down the whole bowl very quickly. For the cookies out there who enjoy spicy food, of course you can also eat kimchi. I am Not really good with kimchi. It's way too spicy. I have tried a lot of different kimchis, even the ones that are supposedly mild, but I think I just can't really deal with chili. It gives me heartburn. It's just really not comfortable. I'm not a big fan. I used to be a big fan when I was younger. So in my early 20s, I would love spicy food, but nowadays in my early 30s, I just can't really take it anymore. I think I'm just getting old and my body is not super good at processing harsh stuff, so I can't have kimchi. I don't mind the taste, but I eat kimchi like a freaking savage. Don't judge me too harshly. I run it through water to remove most of the chili and have it super mild, and then I don't mind the taste. But that is not how you're supposed to eat kimchi. But kimchi is also super good for your gut health, for fibers, to add some extra color and texture and sourness and chili to the food. The second is pickles. In French we say cornichon. This one has a little bit of sugar actually. Color me surprised. It's not supposed to have sugar, but it's very, very little. And I just love this thing. It brings the sourness and it brings the crunch. I just love the crunchiness of this thing. This whole jar, I've had this now for 3 weeks because I usually only take 1 or 2 per dish and I cut it in small pieces because these are quite big, like a finger. So this whole jar would last me at least a month to 6 weeks. So it's quite cost effective. It's just super nice. This whole sauerkraut thingy would last me for about a month. I don't take the sour stuff at the same time. I alternate. So if today I use this, then tomorrow I use this. And sometimes I just don't feel like having anything sour in my food, so I don't use any of them. And I only take a tiny amount, so it's quite cost effective. The final sour thing is a little bit pricier, and it is olives, organic. I don't usually cook with that much oil. Eating olives is kind of the equivalent of having a little bit of olive oil, which is very healthy for you. Also, I just like the taste and the flavor that it gives, and same thing there. I've had this now for actually a month because I usually take about 4 to 5 olives that I cut in small pieces and then put in my dish. I don't need more than that, otherwise it just tastes too strong, and I don't like having big chunks of olives when I take a bite. I prefer tiny small chunks so that it complements the rest of the dish. Before we go on to the last topping, the reason I eat mostly organic, as in 95% of my diet is organic, apart from trash food, but they don't count because they are treats, so I don't expect a trash food to be healthy for me. The reason is 75% selfish because of my health. I've had pre-cancer before, I have a lot of allergies, and I also have a lot of small underlying health issues. And I just want to nourish my body in a way that I find optimal. So for some people, maybe it's not worth it buying organic food, but I'd rather eat organic food than go to the restaurant, go to the movies, go get some expensive coffee, go do some experiences, and I can even cut down on travel costs per year if it means that I can eat organic food more often than go traveling or do things like that. And then the 25% as a sustainability strategist is of course for environmental reasons and sustainability reasons, because I like insects, I like bees, I want the flowers to still exist out there, and I want to vote with my wallet. So yes, unfortunately, it's not just for altruistic reasons that I eat organic food, it's mostly for me. And then it is a bonus that it's good for the planet, for fellow humans, for fellow insects, for biodiversity, for nature. And then my last topping is this. This is organic sunflower seeds, and I roast them myself. When I roast them, I don't put anything. I just put them in the oven and wait until they are almost burnt. How do you know that they're almost burnt? You have experimented multiple times and burnt many batches. By you, I mean me. Sometimes they taste foul. I have no idea why, but I have tried so many sunflower seeds and some of them are just disgusting. There's no other way to say it. They're bitter, they're stale, they just taste really off. And some of them are delicious. Actually, the cheapest ones that I've ever found in Sweden have been the best tasting ones. So you don't have to go for fancy organic seeds. You can just find a brand that you like and stick to it. I don't use oil that much when I cook, so I need the healthy oils from these. They have a lot of protein, they have a lot of fiber, and they have a lot of other things that are also necessary, and they are quite filling. And when I overcook my beans, which happens very, very often, or when I have soft tofu, which also happens quite often, I like some crunch and some bite, and these, when they're roasted and nice, provide the crunch and bite. And again, even my colleagues are like, oh, so fancy, you have some seeds on top of your food, and my food is just some freaking mushed red beans with overcooked rice, and then this, and a bit of furikake maybe, or seaweed, and people think it's fancy, but it's totally not. And that's it for today's video. Let me know, cookies, if you have some other toppings that are plant-based that you think I should totally try. I'm always on the lookout for fun stuff, but please keep it frugal and keep it somewhat available to most people. I'm aware that furikake and seaweed might not be available all the time. That's why I actually purchased furikake and seaweed before moving back to Sweden. It was in my suitcase because I knew it would be impossible to find them in Sweden, and really I can't find them regardless of how much money I'm willing to fork out, so I just take them with me. And I feel like if I were to go for a long time somewhere where I want to be frugal, I would still purchase these and take them with me in my suitcase. And until next time, I will see you, cookies, very, very soon. Bye!